Hey guys, the Explorer 4 here, the Horror Boy. Welcome back to some more reviews. And today we're going to be talking about The Hills Have Eyes, which came in 1977. Gets a 6.3 on IMDb, and of course was directed by Wes Craven. Also written by Wes Craven. Now, Hills Have Eyes, I know this is kind of a random review, but years ago I had promised that I was going to talk about these movies, never got around to doing it, so I figured why not do these reviews. Not a very big franchise, and most of them I have seen multiple times, so I'll probably be able to rediscuss those movies again. Plus, maybe here soon I'll just rewatch a couple of them. Like, I know I might rewatch Hills of Ice 2 from 2007. I also have got to watch Hills of Ice Part 2, the original Hills of Ice Part 2, as I have not seen that movie in years. And I don't even think I finished it last time I watched that movie, so I'll have to recheck that movie out. But the classic Hills of Ice is a movie that I remember the first time seeing. Really surprised me of how good it was. And it's one of those instances where I love this and I also love the remake. I love them both for different reasons. It's very hard to pick my favorite because, like I said, I love both movies a lot. But this one I thought really touched on the idea a little bit more better, touched on the more, in my opinion, horror side, whereas the remake is more of an action thriller. So if you want just straight up horror, I'd recommend this. If you want more of an action thriller kind of horror blend, the remake is probably the best way to go. But the original Hills of Eyes, very classic story. I mean, you have a family, they're basically gonna go to this vacation and they cut across the desert. They run into this guy at this gas station who tells them that, you know, it's a very rural area, they gotta be careful, and he tells them about this detour. And they go on this detour, of course, there's pretty much a jet that flies over and distracts them, and they go off the road and crash. And the rest of the movie is them just stuck in this area. The father walks off trying to find some help. The boyfriend tries to go and find some help, and the family learns that there are these mutants out in the hills watching them and stalking them. And they get attacked by these mutants. Most of them get killed except for maybe a handful. And basically it's their way of fighting back. The last part of the movie is them fighting back against the mutants, setting up booby traps, and the boyfriend of this girl who died, actually Dee Wallace's character, the boyfriend goes and tries to get revenge for everything that's going on, and his baby was kidnapped. So you have the character Bobby, who is trying to get revenge for his mom dying. You've got his sister who was raped, so she's trying to get some revenge. You've got, I don't know if it's the same Doug character, but there is a Doug character. Yeah, it is still Doug. Martin Spear. He's trying to get revenge for his wife being killed and also his baby being stolen. So, and I mean, also in a way, even the dog, the Beast. Beast is the name of the dog. There's Lady and then there's Beast, and the lady dog gets killed. So, even the Beast dog is trying to get revenge, but it's not like Hills of Ice Part 2 where he's having flashbacks and they're making a killer dog movie. No, it's done to where literally the entire family, every single one of them is on a motive for revenge, you know. And I liked that. I think the time this was made, I thought it was done very well. It kind of reminds me of similar of Last House on the Left, where it's, you know, the family getting revenge for what happened to somebody. There's even a rape scene in this, which really isn't as graphic as Last House on the Left. It's just more implied, but still very, very shocking scene. And yeah, I mean, I thought the family in this was done very well on both sides, the mutants and the regular family. The Bobby character, his sister, the mother character, the father character, the Doug character, I thought were all very well done and well acted as well. Some decent acting in there. I also thought some of the more stronger things in this movie is definitely the atmosphere. Usually and I've talked about this before, but in desert horror films, you've got to be able to open up your world and shoot various shots to make your environment interesting, because a desert environment is hard to do in a film without it being kind of boring or being kind of just static and not really much going on as far as energy in the atmosphere. I sound like a hippie just trying to describe that, but it's just doing a desert atmosphere in a horror film is very difficult, because you got to be able to make it look scary and be able to make it atmospheric. And I feel like in this movie and the remakes even, I like the way these deserts and hills look, shot, I believe, in a real location. And just the environments look beautiful. The panning shots of the hills. I mean, hell, the movie opens up with a beautiful shot of dawn, and the hills are just being shot over, and you see the Hills of Ice titles. Beautiful. I love that opening. Various shots of like the open desert and bright blue skies, and then during the night sequences. This is usually a problem with most horror films, but I think in this one it works perfectly. You're seeing a lot of just scenes where you cannot see much. The atmosphere is very dark. It's a very dark film. But I feel like instead of it being a problem, it really helps the movie, that atmosphere. It's just a very pitch black, dark atmosphere. Not a whole lot of lighting, but you can still tell what's going on. It's not like you're just sitting there going, "What's going on? I can't tell what's going on." No, it's still got like lighting in there, but it's just also at the same time a very dark film, which I think actually helps in this movie's atmosphere. But I mean, also you got the mutants. I mean, the main father of the mutants I thought was pretty good character. The backstory of this gas station attendant who, had this kid that was deformed and crazy, and I hit him over the head and split his face open, but he didn't die. And then, of course, he gets killed by really his own son. And basically, the son went up into the hills and began to inbreed, and that's how these mutants came around. And the thing in this movie is you have various different planets named after the mutants, like Jupiter. I don't remember the rest of them, though. I do remember Jupiter, Papa Jupiter. But I think they're all just basically planets. I also thought, which this I believe was I don't know if it was the debut of Michael Berryman. Maybe it was. But also thought Michael Berryman was a great job. I mean, he pretty much became the iconic thing from the Hills of Ice, which I thought he did great in this movie. But yeah, I like the way the costumes look, the way that they're mutants, but they're not totally, deformed. They're just kind of twisted individuals. I like that idea. The third act had a lot of cool stuff going on. I mean, them setting up booby traps and explosions. Papa Jupiter being killed by the Doug character. This character getting his throat ripped out. Just a lot of cool stuff. I mean, overall, it's a film that I think is well shot, has some decent music, has some decent acting. It's a very solid horror film. It's definitely one of my favorite Wes Craven movies. I really enjoyed this movie. It's a quick film, very, very fast to watch. It's kind of shocking at times, like the scene where they cook the father character and they're eating him. In the dialogue in that scene, you have the character saying, "I'll eat the brands of your kids. I'm in, you're out." It's just a very crazy scene, and certain things in this movie I just thought were very unsettling, like the rape sequence. Even though you don't see anything, the way it's done in this movie, I thought, it's still impactful. It's still shocking. It's still disturbing. You have this character just ripping the hell out of this bird and drinking the blood. Really, really crazy stuff. In particular, also, I thought this other scene was just heartbreaking. In both this and the remake, where you see the mother and she's been shot and she's bleeding out and she's talking to her son and talking to Doug. And, Doug and the son are trying to comfort her while she's dying. And the mother character seemed like just a sweet character, and I felt kind of bad for the character because she got shot and killed. So it was a very emotional scene where she's passing on, and they're trying to comfort her, and she does die. It's just a very very well done scene, very very emotional. But yeah, just certain scenes like that, the atmosphere, just various things that make this movie work. It's very creepy, it's very unsettling, and the suspense works. Overall, Hills of Eyes, of course, is a classic that I just dropped by accident. But Hills of Eyes is a classic, of course. But anyways, guys, that's my review of Hills of Eyes. I know it wasn't a very long review, but there's really not much more else I can say on the Hills of Eyes. It's a classic film that I thought was very, very well done. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching my review on the Hills of Eyes. I'm gonna give it probably an 8. Deserves it. It's a very well done film. But anyways, guys, that'll do it for today's review. I know it's kind of a quick review, but I mean, what else can I say about the Hills of Eyes? The effects look decent. The acting's pretty good. The atmosphere, the way it's shot, the way it's directed, the way it's written. I like the characters. The third act had a lot of explosions and the family fighting back. I love Hills of Eyes overall. Really, really enjoy Hills of Eyes. But anyways, guys, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the Hills of Eyes in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, the Explorer 4 is out. But anyways, guys, that'll do it for tonight. You guys have a good night. Peace out. The Explorer 4 is out. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.